Omar Marmoush will save Man City's season. Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Players Own YouTube channel and welcome to a very exciting video for me. Omar Marmoush making a massive move across from Germany, Eintracht Frankfurt, to the Citizens. Manchester City, arguably the biggest club in world football at this current point in time. Treble winners not too long ago, defending Premier League champions, 4-time Premier League champions. It's not going that way this season, but the club has that stature now, and he's made that big move, his big career move, to join Pep Guardiola's side there. A €75 million fee to join the Citizens from Frankfurt. A mid-season deal. You don't often see big money moves like these happening, but I feel like it is the right man for Manchester City. This is a player that, watching him a lot this season in the Bundesliga, and we've talked about him a lot in the podcast, his ability to work with a front three, make others better, but most importantly, score and create goals for himself, separates him from a lot of different players in world football right now, and it might be the piece that Pep Guardiola's side is missing, and we'll get to that as the video goes on. But looking at his season so far, he's averaging the 8.16 SOFA score in the Bundesliga this season, as well as an incredible run so far in the Europa League. It's 20 goals and 13 assists in 26 matches across all competitions, so 33 goal involvements in those 26 matches. Absolutely flying. As you can see, he's not only just an out-and-out goal scorer, he can facilitate, and he's worked well with Hugo Ekitike up top for Eintracht Frankfurt to start the season off, and has done a really, really good job. Looking back, I guess, as the last few years, he's a man that's come through some of the German clubs, St. Pauli first into Wolfsburg, then moved across to Eintracht Frankfurt, had a solid enough season last year, sort of came good into the middle to the second half of the season, and then this year has just flown, and it's been off the back of playing with his strong suit, which is his pace, his direct running, and ability to score goals in so many different ways. Free kicks, long shots, great controlled curling efforts, top corner, bottom corner. He finds the way to the back of the net very, very often. And with Eintracht Frankfurt probably being the best team in world football at this current point in time in terms of playing on the counter-attack, playing in transition, he knows what it takes to find the back of the net with limited chances. And it's shown, because Frankfurt flying so far this year in the Bundesliga. He left them in third place. And they'll look to try and consolidate that point and get back into the Champions League for next season. And you look at Frankfurt, some fantastic strikers along the way. Jovic probably comes right first as the most recent striker as well. Colin Mawani throughout that team as well. And you can go back through the years. There's been some great strikers that have gone through Eintracht Frankfurt, but haven't quite succeeded in their next move to their next big club. I think, though, Omar Marmoush separates himself from those guys. He's not just an out-and-out goal scorer. That's the key point here for me. People might get him confused. Is he a striker? Is he a number 10? No, for me, he's a left-sided forward that will work so well alongside Erling Haaland, that will complement Phil Foden, that can improve Man City's movement and ability to score different types of goals in the final third. So don't get me wrong, he'd be awesome to play in the front too, like he has with Ekitike. He can play on the flanks. But for me, an inside winger or an inside forward, like we like to call it these days, is where he's going to flourish. And that's where he can play with Man City at this current point in time. And that's why I think it's a match made in heaven. It's going to make everyone around him better. Let's get into that then. For me, it sort of fills that mould of Julian Alvarez, who had the 16 goals and 11 assists in Premier League and Champions League games last season. The ultimate complement to Erling Haaland, playing whenever Kevin De Bruyne couldn't play. Played in the 10, played as a second striker, but often what he did well was complement and make others around him better. An unselfish role, often the unheralded role at Man City. And he was sold off for some big money to Atletico Madrid. And many were wondering, how do you replace that type of player? They didn't, Man City, and this is the replacement for me, Omar Marmoush. Again, not the exact type of same player in terms of the archetype, but I think what Omar Marmoush brings is that ability to play a little bit wider, can play off the striker slightly, and doesn't have to play down the middle. Julian Alvarez did his best work in behind the striker or in the striking position. That's why he wanted to be sold. He couldn't be the number one guy, and he wanted out. So that's fair enough. Omar Marmoush, though, can come and play alongside Erling Haaland, can complement Phil Foden, a Kevin De Bruyne, a Ilkay Gundogan, and not take away from what they deliver. When you've got the likes of Jack Grealish who've struggled, Jeremy Doku who's been solid in different games but not consistent enough, Savinho struggling to get his feet under him since moving to England, he's the guy that can pick up the slack where all those wide players have fallen short. Bernardo Silva playing out wide, Kevin De Bruyne has played out wide. That's not their position. That's not where they're supposed to be playing, and it's because it's covering up for the shortcomings of some of Man City's wide players. And he's not the exact same player as a Leroy Sané, but I think back to Man City and Leroy Sané when Pep Guardiola first came across to England, that relationship was fantastic. Leroy Sané has not gone up to live up to those heights that he achieved at Man City at his time at Bayern Munich. Many criticise him for that. I've been critical for him on that. But when he was at Man City was that really, really energetic, direct runner, pacey. Not something we really associate with Pep Guardiola type players, especially across the last sort of 2 to 3 iterations of this City side. It's more bigger, stronger bodies, smarter players on the ball, technical players, not those direct runners, those X-Factor type players, which Omar Marmoush is 100%. He falls into that category there, those direct, pacey players that they just get you off the edge of your seat. They get you excited. And I think what it will do is hopefully take a shift away from Erling Haaland, take a lot of the focus off him so he's not triple for teams in many regards when people just piling numbers in and trying to prevent him touching the ball. It will take pressure away from them. Omar Marmoush has to be doubled up on. You can't keep this man quiet by just one-on-one defending because he's too quick, he's too smart, and he's too good with the ball at his feet. And he can score in so many different ways that you have to bring two to him. That opens up space for Erling Haaland. That opens up spaces for Phil Foden to come in as a late runner into the box and score those goals. So when I look at this move, I see the front line being Erling Haaland up top, Marmoush just tucked next to him as a left forward and inside winger, Savinho, as I said on the podcast, keeping his width nice and wide, and then you've got a front line that complements each other. Savinho as your smart player, balls into the box, one of the best crosses in world football last season, an assist, a creator in that wide space. Let him hug the touchline, keep that width outright. Erling Haaland, he speaks for himself. Down the middle of the big centre forward, getting on the ends of balls into the box, putting balls away into the back of the net. Then you got Omar Marmoush, who can drift out wide left, can just slip in behind Erling Haaland as a sort of a second striker. But for me, we'll play in that sort of half space, that channel alongside Erling Haaland to the left of him, with his ability to score different goals. He played on the left of Hugo Ekitike. He works so well interconnecting with Hugo Ekitike, and I think he'll work well with Erling Haaland in this system as well. Both players coming from the Bundesliga, both players capable of playing in the counter-attack, both players arguably being found out for their abilities through playing on the counter-attack. They will have a bit of a telepathic link-up, those two there. And I think as such, you get Erling Haaland more touch of the football, you get more pace into your front line, you get more dynamism in the final third, and you've got now 2 goal threats instead of 1. And that just opens the game up for Man City. You'll see Haaland scoring goals for fun. You'll see Marmoush adding to those assists to his game. As I said, already this season it's 13 assists. So you see more those type of numbers come from him at Man City. And I think he won't be like a Jack Grealish or a Savinho that's numbers will drastically drop because of Pep Guardiola. We saw in that first game versus Chelsea, he's going to take it on. Maybe selfishly take the game on, but he is going to be direct. He's going to shoot. He's not going to be afraid to do it all himself. Like we've seen at Eintracht Frankfurt this season, he is a man that can work with others, but is capable of doing it all on his own. And he's capable of running a one-man counter-attack. He's capable of standing up to defenders, skipping past them and scoring. He's capable of scoring the worldie from outside the box. So all of a sudden things happen. City are not so robotic. That's been one of their problems this season. It's very robotic. We know how Pep plays. We know how this system plays. We know how these players work. And players like Grealish and Doku, and in a way Savinho this season, have all been put into a box to play a certain way, and they're not playing freely, and it's hurting the side. Marmoush comes in, he's a flair player, he's a difference maker, he'll play his style, and it's going to create so many more options for Man City. And I think in turn, Phil Foden improves in this as well. The ability to create, set up other players, to really grow into this role as Man City's new number 10, with now different options. You've got a direct runner in behind, straight lines like Erling Haaland. You've got somebody who can keep his width, and Savinho can curl that ball into the far corner. Then you've got a player like Omar Marmoush who can almost work in tandem with Phil Foden in behind the striker and make him a better player. Little 1-2 give and goes, using Marmoush's elite pace in behind to play balls over the top. And as I said earlier, if Marmoush attract so much attention. The cutback for Marmoush to find a Phil Foden with a late run into the box, for him to find the back of the net, all of a sudden he has more space and more time and doesn't have to play out left. He can play in his natural position, which is in behind the striker. So this signing, it's a great player in Omar Marmoush, but it's a player that can also complement and benefit every other player in this City side. And now there's no more pressure on Kevin De Bruyne to play 90 minutes week in, week out, because you've got Marmoush, you could potentially play him behind the striker. You've got a now out left-sided player that makes Phil Foden drop in to the number 10 spot and take the spot he's supposed to be at. And all of a sudden, everything's functioning at a better level for Man City. Yes, he's not great at tracking back. That might be something that Pep will want him to improve on. But if that's your one and only problem coming to the City side, you're going to do very, very well for yourself. We look at them now. So City 4th, 12 points off the top of Liverpool with a game in hand. Liverpool, they're probably away from that. And we have jokingly said, can they make this a drastic comeback and win the Premier League? You know what? I wouldn't put it past them, because with Marmoush on this side, they're going to be really, really dangerous. We know they've scored about 21 goals in their last 5 games. So they're scoring goals for fun. They break back lines down for fun. Marmoush adds another element to that, another X factor, another way of playing. So that's going to be more difficult to shut down. But for me, the focus has to be on moving up the ladder and making it a more competitive season. 6 points off Arsenal, who are very inconsistent and struggling with injuries. I think you can nick them. You can nick second spot. And for me, the big change, the big improvement will have to come in the Champions League. A Champions League that is slipping away from them. I'm recording this before that last match. They could have been actually bounced out by Club Brugge by the time this video goes out. But I'm assuming they win that game and they get through to the playoff rounds. They've got a big job now coming from right at the bottom of the league table to try and make it into a round of 16, potentially a quarter final, and really throw their weight around. Because they're a team that, because their league season's over, all their focus will be on cup football. Marmoush adds to that. He adds a unique ability, an ability Man City haven't had it for a long time, a pacey, direct player. And that just could be the difference. That could be the difference for them being a mediocre team this season to being a top team this season and competing for different trophies and potentially winning a few trophies. So I look at this Marmoush as being one of the great signings. 75 million euros is a lot of money, but I think he's worth absolutely every single penny. We've seen it this season. The work he's done with Eintracht Frankfurt, the fact that they are sitting in third position of the Bundesliga amongst those automatic qualification spots in the Europa League. He's bags of talent, but he's got work rate and he's got that flair. And I think in particular for me, the word has to be that flair, unique ability, taking their game on. He's not fearful. He's not going to back down from the challenge. And we've seen so many players come to England from Germany and struggle because they can't adapt, or I think they look fearful. They're not expressing themselves how we saw them play in Germany. Marmoush isn't going to have that problem. We saw it in the first match day versus Chelsea. He wants to take the game on. He loves goals. He loves getting involved. And I think this is going to be a great end to the season. I'm going to predict something ridiculous, but I'm going to say 8 Premier League goals, 4 assists for him in the back end of the season. I think this is genuinely possible. The way City are playing their football now, they've seen it, have turned it around. The free-flowing attacking play that Man City have got and the pace this guy's got, I don't think backlines can keep up with him. And I think he could be the player that saves Man City's season, makes it more competitive, and ends it on a higher note. They go out and spend 200 million euros or more, or probably more at this current point in time, on all these signings, try and revitalise their season. I think they've absolutely nailed it. This is the guy, this is the marquee man, and he's going to make the difference. And you know what, if he's not careful, he might take the crown off Mo Salah and be the Egyptian king in the Premier League. With that being said, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts on this Omar Marmoush signing? Are you as hyped up and big on him as I am? I know I'm worried as a United fan because I think Man City have gotten even stronger now with this Marmoush signing. Let me know that in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, smash a like on it, subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more videos and content like this, and press that post notification bell so you know we upload here on the channel, where it'll be podcast videos, reaction, live streams. It all happens here on the channel. All right, guys, I hope you have a great day. Enjoy the weekend's football action, and I'll see you guys in the video very, very soon. Till next time, see you later.